An amazing 7-year-old girl discovers courage after a hopeless encounter with a Hoa Karen. Maya stood beneath the embrace of her favorite cherry blossom tree, wild chestnut curls dancing in the wind, eyes sparkling with the kind of joy that only summer could bring. She surveyed her kingdom, a colorful treehouse, her fortress of imagination, sprang from the branches above. Each piece of wood was splashed with leftover paints, fairy lights twinkled, and dreams of adventure glimmered in the sunlight. For Maya, this treehouse was more than just wood and nails, it was a symbol of every grand tale she spun with her friends, heroes on quests, travelers in enchanted lands. But just as she marveled at her creation, misery approached. Mrs. Thompson, the notorious Hoa Karen, with her cutting glare, marched across the yard like a hurricane ready to strike. The atmosphere shifted, and Maya's heart sank as Mrs. Thompson pointed a finger at her treehouse, declaring it an eyesore and a threat to community standards. It felt as if the air had thickened, pressing down on her tiny shoulders, and for an instant, the laughter in Maplewood turned sour. Maya ran home, her heart racing like a drum. She found her parents in the living room, voices raised, confronting the storm generated by the oppressive Hoa rules. Their worry felt like lead in her stomach, not just for the treehouse she rebuilt, but for the very essence of joy that filled their lives. She saw her father kneeling down, eyes kind and fierce. "Maya," he said softly, "we have to stand up for what we believe in. Our dreams matter. Even the smallest voice can make a big difference." Those words struck her deeply, awakening a fire inside. With determination, she gathered her friends, her loyal partners in imagination. Together, they created posters splashed with colors that matched their hopes. They painted murals on sidewalks, each stroke a testimony of childhood wonder. As they laughed and worked, Maya felt warmth replace the hurt. Neighbors began to notice, starting to cheer for their colorful dreams instead of criticizing their joy. The neighborhood began to feel alive again, shifting from fear to a vibrant spirit of support, but the real test came at the community meeting. Maya, standing before a packed room filled with familiar faces, felt her heart race. She stepped forward, small but mighty, and began to speak of the importance of creativity, the magic that childhood brings. "It's not just about rules," she said, her voice breaking but strong. "It's about keeping our dreams alive." Before her message could sink in, Mrs. Thompson interrupted, her voice wavering. "You don't understand. I'm just trying to protect our community." The room held its breath, the tension crackling. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Maya felt that her heart was pounding against her chest. The moment hung heavily. Both sides of the room were on the edge of their seats, each guarding their own fears. Could they find common ground? Or would this be the moment that divided them forever? The question loomed in the air, swirling with uncertainty along with Maya's youthful brilliance, and she was ready to face whatever came next. Maya stood at the center of the room, her small frame dwarfed by the looming presence of the adults around her. Mrs. Thompson's eyes were like storm clouds, hard and dim, but Maya sensed a flicker of something, fear, perhaps, or an ember of doubt. Could it be that even the most resolute grown-ups had their cracks? In the spirit of community, Maya continued, mustering every ounce of courage her small voice could command, shouldn't we celebrate creativity instead of stifling it? This treehouse isn't just mine, it's a piece of all our imaginations. It brings us together. A murmur rippled through the crowd. A couple of neighbors exchanged glances, their expressions shifting as if Maya had tossed a rock into still water. The ripples of change began to form. Dmr. Hernandez, her friendly next-door neighbor, stood up slowly and cleared his throat. Maya's right. When I was a kid I had a secret fort hidden deep in the woods. It was my escape, my adventure. I'd be someone new whenever I was in there. His voice cracked with nostalgia, and Maya couldn't help but smile at the camaraderie forming. But Mrs. Thompson wasn't ready to surrender her grip. What if these creative expressions turn our neighborhood into a carnival? She retorted, her words sharp. What happens when the noise and chaos of kids playing disrupt our peace? An older woman, Mrs. Montgomery, seated at the back, raised her hand. But what is peace if children can't be children? Every one of us has a story that shaped us. Let us help them create theirs. The atmosphere shifted again, warmer this time. Maya could feel the waves of support crashing around her, lifting her spirit higher. And just like that, the little girl who so often shrank under the weight of adults' judgment found her voice, the tiny whisper now ringing bold and clear. Imagine a neighborhood where imagination thrives, she urged, eyes sweeping over the crowd, casting her spell. Where kids can dream and create, can't we be champions of their ideas? As she paused, the silence served as a canvas. What Maya offered was more than a plea, it was an invitation for them all to reclaim their childhood zeal. Suddenly, a soft voice broke through the tension. She's just a child, but she's right, Mr. Davis, another resident, said, nodding thoughtfully. We worry so much about rules that we forget why we have this community in the first place. To support each other, to lift each other up. Maya's heart soared. What she didn't expect was the glimmer of recognition in Mrs. Thompson's eyes. It was fleeting, like sunlight breaking through the clouds. Maya seized that moment and pressed on. Can we find a way to work together? A way to create a space where our dreams can coexist? The room hesitated, thoughts swirling in the air. For some, doubts lingered, but there was a new energy, a longing for something more than just regulations. Maya's voice trembled slightly, but her passion wrapped around each word. Let us create an art block party. A day to showcase creativity. Maybe we can even have a treehouse contest. Laughter broke out, unexpected and soothing, filling room with possibility. But just as excitement began to flutter, Mrs. Thompson stepped forward, her face softening. And what if she started, glancing at Maya before looking back at the crowd? What if we made community the focus of what we create? A way to unite us? Maya watched, breathless. Could it be? As the whispers of agreement began to echo in the room, Maya felt the weight of the world lift, but one question loomed larger than the rest. Could an unexpected alliance truly be born from a treehouse, a child's dream, and a community once divided? The air thickened with anticipation. Would they leave behind their old perspectives? Maya would soon find out. The room buzzed with excitement, a tentative energy like the first signs of spring. Maya stood at the front, her heart pounding in her chest as she searched the faces of her neighbors. Their expressions were a mix of hope and apprehension. It was a delicate moment, teetering between old traditions and the promise of something new. Mrs. Thompson, her brow furrowing as if wrestling with a storm inside, lingered at the edge of the group. But what about the rules? She began, her voice weak, yet still authoritative. She looked unsure, wincing at the thought of bending established boundaries. What if this leads to chaos? Chaos? Maya echoed, stepping forward. Can't we define what creativity looks like together? Let us make new rules that inspire instead of limit us. With each word, she could feel a fire igniting in her belly, urging her forward. We could organize activities where kids teach adults to unleash their own creativity. Didn't we all once see the world through the glittering lens of imagination? The laughter that followed was infectious. More than a giggle, it was a heartfelt response. Even Mrs. Thompson cracked a small smile, briefly lifting the heaviness of her guard. Imagine if we painted murals around the neighborhood or held open mic nights in the park, Mr. Hernandez exclaimed, animated now. Let us create a space where laughter trumps silence, and dreams outshine the doubts. Maya's eyes sparkled with every suggestion. And garden projects. Let us plant flowers everywhere. It won't only brighten our homes but our hearts too. Her voice rang out, rising above the murmurs like a beacon of hope. Someone from the back shouted, "What about food? A potluck where we all bring our favorite dishes." The idea spread like wildfire, igniting their imaginations, filling the room with culinary scents even the adults could savor. Mrs. Montgomery clapped her hands. "We can include everyone, invite families, old and young, to contribute a piece." The adults who were once reluctant were now caught in the web of excitement, their uncertain expressions giving way to enthusiasm. A wave washed over Maya as she realized that each voice added to the momentum. The transformation was tangible, barriers began to crumble. "We can even create a community map," she suggested, her heart racing. "One that holds our dreams, our stories, our art." Just then, the door swung open, and in walked her father, carrying a tray of cookies as if he could sense the celebration. "What's all the commotion?" He eyed the crowd, immediately sensing the charged atmosphere. "They're planning an art block party," Maya exclaimed, her eyes wide with joy to have him part of this. "Everyone is on board. Even Mrs. Thompson. We just need to set a date." Her father smiled broadly, his encouraging presence igniting a new spark within the room. He turned to the crowd, enveloped by the surge of creativity. "Sometimes, it only takes one brave heart to inspire many. The dreams of children have the power to unite us." In that moment, Mrs. Thompson stepped forward, her apprehension fully replaced by admiration. "All right," she finally said, her voice steadying. "Let us set the guidelines together, keeping everyone's needs in mind, but I'm willing to try. Let us see where this imagination can take us." A cheer broke out, echoing off the walls. Maya couldn't hold back her excitement. She felt as if she was flying, the weight of doubt replaced by joy. But amidst the rapture, a deeper longing surfaced. Could this truly be a turning point? As plans began to unfurl, Maya wondered what hidden stories and talents her neighbors would unveil. Each of them had a vision, but as the crowd slowly dispersed, one question lingered in Maya's mind: what would her neighborhood look like after they all shared their creativity? With possibilities swirling like autumn leaves, one thing was clear: this was just the beginning. The journey ahead promised more than a treehouse, it could bring a community to life, and with it, unexpected truths. The next morning, Maya woke up with a bubbling excitement she hadn't felt in ages. The sun streamed through her window, and the world outside felt vibrant and full of possibilities. She hopped out of bed, ready to make her dreams a reality. The neighborhood block party was more than just an idea now, it was something they were going to build together, like a tapestry woven from everyone's contributions. After breakfast, Maya rushed out, clutching her sketchbook tightly. She wanted to create a blueprint for the party, something to show everyone what it could be. As she walked down the street, the familiar faces of her neighbors brought a smile to her face. Mr. Hernandez was watering his garden, while Mrs. Montgomery waved from her porch, a bright apron tied around her waist. "Morning, Maya," she called out. "Have you started planning the party yet?" "I have. I'm drawing up some ideas for the mural and activities," Maya replied, her enthusiasm bubbling over. "Can I help?" Mrs. Montgomery asked, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Of course. We could use as many hands as possible." Maya grinned. Together, they sat on Mrs. Montgomery's front porch, sketching the plans. They talked about what colors to use for the mural and how many tables they'd need for all the food. As they gathered more ideas, more neighbors joined in. Mr. Hernandez brought over paint samples, while Mrs. Thompson arrived with a stack of paper plates and cups. The atmosphere quickly shifted from casual to charged with collective energy. Maya felt proud of herself for inspiring this unity. It was as if each neighbor was shedding their doubts, and the momentum pushed them forward into a shared dream. But then, just as the excitement peaked, a shadow fell across the gathering. Maya looked up to see Karen, the notorious HOA leader, marching down the street with her arms crossed, a frown etched deep into her features. She had an air of seriousness that sent an immediate hush over the group. "What is going on here?" Karen demanded, eyeing the sketches and the gathering crowd. "I don't recall seeing any formal plan submitted for this block party of yours." The tension in the air thickened. Maya's heart raced as she felt the sudden shift from joy to apprehension. She had seen Karen scold neighbors before, and now, the excited Buzz felt vulnerable under Karen's scrutinizing glare. "We were just brainstorming." Maya spoke up, trying to hold on to her confidence. "It's a community event where everyone can contribute. We want to celebrate our creativity." Karen raised an eyebrow. "And what if it gets out of control? You can't just do whatever you want without permission. There are rules for a reason, you know." Maya's stomach churned. She glanced around at her neighbors, who looked just as worried. A part of her wanted to retreat, to hide behind her sketches and forget this was her idea. But then she remembered the laughter, the joy, and the stories they had shared. "Rules can be changed," Maya said, her voice tremoring slightly but firm. "We're not trying to break them, we just want to make our neighborhood a better place." Karen's expression was difficult to read. She shifted her weight, clearly caught off guard by Maya's boldness. Maybe you should bring this up at the next HOA meeting instead," she replied, her voice softer, but laced with uncertainty. As Karen turned to leave, Maya felt a surge of relief and determination surge through her. They could still do this. But the vulnerability of Karen's challenge lingered in her mind, and she wondered, was this just the first hurdle they'd face? With a newly lit fire in her heart, Maya looked at her neighbors, who seemed to rally around her words. She felt their collective strength, and a question formed, floating in the air like an unspoken promise: how far were they willing to go to change the narrative of their community? As they stepped back into the light of possibilities, Maya suddenly had a feeling that fitting everyone's ideas together might just take more than creativity. It would take courage and maybe some fierce determination too. Maya barely slept that night, her mind racing with plans and possibilities. The spark of hope ignited a fire inside as she thought about the block party. What would it take to transform a simple gathering into something unforgettable? The very idea that they could weave their differences into a vibrant tapestry thrilled her. As dawn broke, she could see the shadows of doubt creeping in again. What if Karen didn't like their plans? What if the neighbors lost interest? She pushed those thoughts aside and decided she wouldn't let fear dictate their dreams. As everyone gathered again the next afternoon, the atmosphere was invigorating. Neighbors began to set up tables and chairs, their energy palpable. Eyes twinkled in a shared purpose. "We're doing this," Maya proclaimed, her voice clear and confident. The belief that radiated through her was contagious. Mrs. Montgomery had taken charge of arranging the food donations. Mr. Hernandez was pulling up old holiday decorations from his garage, insisting that they could be repurposed for the mural theme. "Let us show off our history, too," he said, proudly displaying an old banner. Maya's sketchbook was now filled with doodles and innovative designs for the mural. "What if we painted it to tell our stories?" she suggested as her neighbors gathered around. They leaned in, intrigued by the idea. Each color can represent a family or a memory from this street, something meaningful. Just as people began discussing their stories, Maya felt a chill run through the group when they heard familiar footsteps behind them. Karen stood there, arms crossed. "What is going on this time?" she asked, face pinched in her usual frown. The nervousness spread through the crowd, as all eyes turned toward Maya. Gathering her courage, Maya stepped forward. "We are planning the block party. We've spent hours coming together to celebrate our neighborhood." She took a breath, reminding herself of the shared excitement. "We want to include everyone's stories, like the mural." Karen looked as if she was about to retort when Mrs. Montgomery, standing tall beside Maya, chimed in. "And it's not just about one person's ideas, this is something we all take part in. You could join us instead of trying to squish our dreams." Maya's heart raced at the bravery of her neighbor. Could Karen be swayed? Moments ticked by, silence loomed, and for the first time, it felt like the air buzzed with genuine tension. Karen, locked in thought, unclenched her arms slowly. "A mural is interesting," she said, eyes darting from Maya to the others. The change in her tone was remarkable, though subtle enough to maintain the air of authority. "What if we discuss this further at the HOA meeting?" Maya suggested, her heart pounding. "We'd love to share our plans and maybe even explore adjusting those rules you mentioned." Karen hesitated. "Well, if everyone is on board, I suppose we can see what you have in mind. Just be prepared for potential changes." A wave of collective relief washed over the group. Maya's heart swelled. This was the first real opening they had, the potential to bond beyond just their differences, to not only speak about their dreams but also persuade others to dream alongside them. As the neighbors buzzed with excitement, Maya caught Karen's gaze lingering on the sketches in her book. "Together, we can create something beautiful," Karen whispered almost unknowingly, her eyes darting away in embarrassment. Hope threaded its way into the group, and Maya felt it strong and true. They could do this. Perhaps they could change their narrative after all. But as the day unfolded, uncertainty started to creep back. What would happen at the meeting? Would their voices be heard? The thrill of possibility hung in the air, yet a lingering worry remained. Just how many hurdles would they face before the day of the block party actually arrived? Maya spent the next few days in a whirlwind of activity. The excitement of the block party fueled her while the reality of the upcoming HOA meeting loomed like a storm cloud overhead. Every evening after school, she gathered with her neighbors, brainstorming and planning. They painted signs, organized food contributions, and plotted the layout of the mural. With each task, Maya felt the burdens of fear begin to lift. As the meeting approached, her mind raced. Would Karen really support their plans? Would other neighbors, usually so hesitant, rally behind them? The thought of presenting their ideas felt like standing on a high diving board, teetering at the edge. Would they plunge into the depths of disappointment, or would they soar? That night, as she lay in bed, Maya clutched her sketchbook to her chest. The pages were now filled with vibrant colors and drawings that depicted lively stories of the neighborhood, children playing in the park, families gathered for barbecues, and the laughter that echoed through the streets. It could be so much more than just a party, it could be a celebration of everything that made their community special. Tomorrow, she whispered to herself, willing the nerves to settle. On the day of the HOA meeting, the sun poured through the windows, brightening the old community center where they had gathered. Maya arrived early with her notebook. Other neighbors trickled in, some looking nervous, others quietly confident. Maya glanced around, her heart racing as familiar faces filled the room. It struck her how many stories were collected in that one space, as diverse and colorful as the mural she envisioned. "Okay, everyone, let us do this," she whispered, gathering them to a corner of the room. "Remember, our plan isn't just about fun. This is about connecting. About showing that we are a community." She felt the spark reigniting in their eyes. As the HOA committee began to call the meeting to order, Karen's presence instantly commanded the room. With her polished appearance and sharp tone, she was not someone easily challenged. Yet today, there was a new glint in her eyes, a slight softness present when she addressed everyone. "Let us hear what you've been discussing," she said, glancing briefly at Maya. Taking a deep breath, Maya stood up with her notes, every heartbeat echoing in her ears. "So, we want to create a block party and, as part of it, a mural that tells our stories." The words felt warm in her mouth, wrapping around her intentions like a cozy blanket. She glanced at Karen, who nodded, urging her to continue. "Every family will paint a section. Each color will represent a memory or a family story from our street. This way, we're not just living side by side, we are celebrating who we are together." Maya's voice built with passion. She felt emboldened by everyone's silent support. As she explained their plans, she noticed some skeptical faces transforming into expressions of curiosity and interest. Mrs. Montgomery chimed in with examples of possible decorations. Mr. Hernandez shared his excitement about sharing cultural dishes. When Maya finished, there was a brief silence before a smattering of applause broke out. Her heart swelled, they were inspired. But then, with an air of authority, Karen stood. While I see the merits of this community approach, we do have rules and regulations. Doubt began to creep back into the room, yet before she could finish her thought, Mrs. Montgomery stood up. But change can happen. Rules can evolve, just like us. If we want this to be a community where people feel welcome, we need to celebrate together. Murmurs went through the audience. Maya held her breath, hoping this shift might change everything. Karen hesitated, then looked over the assembled faces, considering their collective warmth. Her usual stern facade began to crack. "Fine," she said slowly. "We can discuss potential adjustments." But she paused dramatically. This needs to be organized. Cheers erupted, and Maya felt herself grin. As they talked about ideas to strengthen their plans, the meeting started to overflow. With energy. And in the heart, Maya couldn't help but wonder if this was the beginning of something transformative, not just for the mural, but for her relationship with the neighbors. Unbeknownst to Maya, however, Karen's guarded demeanor hid deeper concerns that could shake the fragile alliance they had just built. The questions of limitation and regulations loomed over the meeting like shadows, threatening to split their efforts apart. Will this really be the step forward we need? Maya pondered as the gathering continued to hum with excitement. What other surprises would come to light in the journey ahead? Maya left the meeting buzzing with excitement, the energy from her neighbors electrifying her senses. The applause still echoed in her mind, fueling her hope for the block party. She felt lighter, as if the weight of the world had been lifted from her shoulders. But as the night deepened, the warmth of those cheers began to fade, replaced by a gnawing doubt. What if Karen's promise of support was empty? What if her concerns brought everything crashing down? The next day, Maya found herself wandering through the neighborhood, her sketchbook tucked under her arm. She sought solace in the familiar sights: the towering oak trees, the laughter of children playing in the park, beautiful moments that seemed sacred and unshakable. As she passed Mrs. Montgomery's garden bursting with vibrant flowers, Maya noticed the older woman watering her plants and decided to stop. "Hi, Mrs. Montgomery." Maya called, her heart still racing from the meeting's aftermath. "Oh. Hello, dear." Mrs. Montgomery wiped her brow. "How did the meeting go?" Maya's heart swelled. Here was someone who had genuinely cared about her efforts. "It went really well. Everyone agreed on the block party and the mural." "Did Karen support it?" The question hung in the air, and Maya could sense the tension behind it. "She said we could discuss potential adjustments, but I think she will really come through," Maya said, trying to hide her uncertainty. Mrs. Montgomery smiled, though her eyes held a flicker of concern. "Just make sure to keep the momentum going, sweetie. You're the spark this neighborhood needs." With those words, Maya felt invigorated. She needed to keep everyone connected and engaged. The next few days, she reached out to neighbors, excitedly sharing ideas. She organized gatherings to paint signs, create decorations, and most importantly, ensure everyone felt involved. However, each time she approached Karen, she felt that wall between them. At the last meeting, Maya noticed Karen's hesitation to fully embrace their ideas. It was as if beneath her warm facade, she was still grappling with something more profound. Each conversation, though polite, was laced with unspoken doubts. Just when Maya was about to lose hope, Mr. Hernandez approached her one evening. The warm glow of dusk wrapped around them as he passed a box filled with supplies for the mural. "I thought I'd lend a hand," he smiled. "Our family is excited to be part of this." "Really?" Her eyes lit up. "Thank you so much, Mr. Hernandez. This means everything." His smile faded slightly. "Maya, I must admit, I'm a little worried. I heard whispers from other neighbors about the costs involved, and I fear someone might try to shut it down." Those words hung thick in the air, crashing into her vibrant bubble of hope. What if they couldn't get the funding? What if others didn't feel invested? Would the block party transform into a battleground of conflicts and complaints? That night, Maya lay in bed, her mind racing, her sketchbook untouched on the nightstand. She couldn't let doubts win. After all, wasn't this journey about more than just paint on walls? The following day, as the sunlight spilled into her room, illuminating her dreams, Maya could almost see the mural taking shape. Perhaps she needed to focus on the positive, share their vision even louder, and ignite everyone's passion. Feeling a flash of determination, she opened her sketchbook, flipping through pages covered in colors and ideas. "Let's create something beautiful," she declared softly to herself. As she sat planning, a new idea emerged, one that could involve not only art but also enhance community bonding in a different light. Her heart raced with the possibilities, her mind weaving the threads of connection they all needed, but as she drafted the plans, a sinking feeling clawed at her gut. If she proposed another idea to the group, would it help or just add to the chaos? With trembling hands, she closed the sketchbook. The journey was just beginning, and with new challenges ahead, she had to summon the courage to face whatever came next. What surprising twist awaited the community as they moved forward? Maya woke early the next day, the soft light streaming through her window, feeling almost electric. She could hear the distant laughter of children outside, voices that danced playfully on the air. It was a reminder of why she was fighting so hard for this block party and mural. She sprang from her bed, a renewed resolve building within her like a crescendo. Today was the day she would present her new idea to the neighborhood. She picked up her sketchbook, still filled with colorful thoughts and images. There was something about blending art with community such that it felt like a heartbeat, a living, breathing thing that could pull them all together. Her plan was simple, yet ambitious. Instead of just commissioning one mural, she envisioned a community art project featuring contributions from every neighbor, young and old. Each family could create their own panel to be integrated into the main mural. It was a way for everyone to feel ownership, to allow their creativity to flow freely. And it would send a strong message that their voices mattered, even as they painted in colors of joy and unity. Maya took a deep breath, savoring the sweet scent of blooming jasmine wafting in from the garden. She couldn't wait for the meeting scheduled for later that afternoon. It was a chance to ignite excitement in others, to rekindle their hope, and perhaps even bridge the gap with Karen. With her sketchbook firmly in hand, she headed for the park, intending to distribute colorful flyers announcing the gathering. Her first stop was Mrs. Montgomery's house. As she approached, the older woman tossed her a warm smile through the window, her gentle demeanor shining brighter than the sun. "Good morning, Maya. What's cooking in that creative brain of yours?" Mrs. Montgomery beckoned her in. Maya quickly shared her plan about the community mural featuring contributions from everyone. Mrs. Montgomery's eyes sparkled, and Maya could feel the excitement building. "Oh, dear. That's a splendid idea. We all have stories to share, and this gives everyone the chance to express themselves. I can't wait to start painting," she exclaimed, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. Encouraged, Maya continued through the neighborhood, meeting families and sharing her vision. As she spoke, she noticed more smiles, heads nodding in agreement, and children eagerly pleading with their parents to join. It was beautiful, a wave of hope washing over the initial doubts that had begun to curl around her heart. But as the afternoon drew nearer, her confidence began to waver when she remembered Karen would be there. What if Karen didn't like the idea? What if she saw it as too messy or disorganized? The thought made her stomach twist uncomfortably. During the meeting, Maya set up a small table with her sketchbook, surrounded by folded flyers decorated with bright colors and fun swirl designs. She waited nervously as neighbors gathered, the buzz of conversations filling the air. When Karen walked in, the crowd hushed momentarily. Maya felt her heart rate climb. As she stood up to speak, a rush of vulnerability hit her. She had her vision, but how could she turn that hard-won hope into something Karen would rally behind? Gathering her courage, Maya began, "Thank you all for being here. I want to show you what we can create together, something that is not just a mural but a tapestry of our lives here." But just as she started, Karen interrupted, her tone sharper than Maya anticipated. "I think we need to focus on what's practical." "How will that work?" "This is a neighborhood, not an art festival." Maya's heart plummeted, and anxieties swarmed. Would she be able to push through this? Would her vision fall apart before it even had a chance to take root? Just as she felt the flame of hope flickering, a little voice piped up from the back of the crowd. "I think it sounds amazing, Maya." It was Lily, the 7-year-old girl from next door, shyly raising her hand. Maya's heart skipped a beat. If a 7-year-old could find the courage to support her, then maybe, just maybe, she could too. Adjusting her stance, Maya made eye contact with Lily, feeling the warmth of that simple affirmation. She smiled, eventuating a deep sense of purpose and lifting her chin just a little higher. Maybe hope would rise from the most unexpected places, but would that small spark from a child's words be enough to shift the course of the meeting and sway Karen's opinion? What might it take for Maya to rally not just her neighbors, but also Karen, behind her artful vision? Maya felt the air change as she locked eyes with Lily, who stood with her small hand raised, brimming with innocence and unfiltered enthusiasm. It was a feeble flicker, but it felt like sunlight breaking through a shadowy cloud. Maya could sense the room resonate with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. She took a deep breath, steeling herself. "Yes. Thank you, Lily," Maya said, her voice regaining strength. "Imagine this mural showcasing our stories. A place where every brushstroke shares who we are as a community." Her words stirred murmurs throughout the group, and she could see neighbors leaning in, intrigued. It was as if Lily's support had cracked open the door, and now Maya needed to push it wide open. "What if each of you created your own panel?" Maya continued, glancing around at the faces, searching for allies. "They don't need to be perfect. They just need to be real. We can incorporate themes of love, nostalgia, even our hopes for the future." A man at the back, Mr. Harris, scratched his beard. "What about the kids? I think they'd love to get involved." Maya nodded eagerly, her heart racing. "Yes. This is for everyone. The young, the old, even our furry friends. Everyone gets to contribute. We could even have a painting day at LLB Fun." The enthusiasm began to ripple through the crowd. Faces that were once frowning or skeptical now started to brighten. She saw nods of approval, and even Mrs. Montgomery waved her arms excitedly in the back, beckoning others to join. But then, like a dark cloud rolling back in, Karen cut through the buzz. "And what if it looks bad? What if people hate it?" Her voice was a cold splash of doubt. "This is a neighborhood, it needs to be nice." Maya's heart sank at the cutting tone, but just as despair threatened to take hold, Lily piped up again. "But it will be beautiful because it's from everyone. My dad says art should be fun." A ripple of laughter ran through the group at Lily's confidence, and even Karen's brow softened for a moment. Maya couldn't help but grin, feeling the warmth of the moment. It was as if Lily was a little spark igniting something greater. "Exactly. Art is for everyone," Maya responded, her voice gaining conviction. "It's more than just pretty pictures, it's about emotion, stories, and connection. We have jokes, struggles, and love right here on this street. Why not tell that story in vibrant color?" The room swelled with murmurs of agreement. Maya's energy surged as she glanced around. "Let us not fear the messy, the imperfect," she urged. "This mural will speak of our togetherness and our resilience. Let us give each other this chance to shine. Who's with me?" A few brave souls raised their hands, then more, until a chorus of voices echoed back, "We're in." The tide had turned, and Maya felt like she was riding a wave of hope. Karen hesitated, her lips pressed into a tight line. While she didn't raise her hand, something flickered in her eyes, curiosity, perhaps even a hint of interest. Maya's heart paused, wondering if maybe, just maybe, she could convince Karen to see it too. As discussions erupted and excitement swirled, Maya turned her focus back to the little girl who had sparked this moment. Lily, Maya knelt to her level, smile wide, thank you for believing in this. The young girl beamed, her small frame radiating joy. Can I help you paint the rainbow? She asked, her eyes alight with possibility. Of course. But Maya couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. If they could bring a tapestry of stories to life, what else might they share? What if there was more to unite them? Her thoughts turned back to Karen. Could they find common ground? What would it take to reach the woman wrapped in her worries? Amid the laughter and chatter swirling around her, Maya felt her heart race again. This was change, but not yet the whole story. Just then, Karen stood up, straightening her blouse and looking across the room. I have some thoughts about how we can make this work. Maya's breath caught, and her pulse quickened. Would Karen's ideas clash with her vision, or would they sync and take this project even further? The room hushed, eyes turning toward Karen. What was she going to say? Maya's heart pounded with anticipation. In that moment, uncertainty mingled with hope. Karen glanced around the room, capturing the attention of every neighbor, the atmosphere thick with curiosity. There was something different in her tone, a mix of caution and an eagerness that left Maya trembling with anticipation. I think if we're going to do this, we need to establish some sort of framework. A way to keep it within the spirit of our community standards but allow for creativity. Maya felt a wave of relief wash over her as she listened. Yes. We can work together to establish guidelines that everyone feels comfortable with. It was like a door had opened, inviting collaboration instead of competition. And maybe, Karen continued, almost tentatively, we can schedule a time where everyone can bring their ideas. Perhaps a community art night? We could even involve local artists to guide the children. The idea hung in the air, weighing heavy with potential. Yes. Maya beamed, feeling the energy unfurling like petals in the sunlight. That would be amazing. We could showcase talents we never knew we had. The room erupted with murmurs of excitement. As neighbors rallied, discussing what themes they could include, Maya felt a weight lift from her shoulders. Karen, once a stern figure looming on the edge, now stood beside her. It wasn't just about rules anymore, it was about honor, understanding, and a fresh kind of community connection blooming right before their eyes. They continued brainstorming ideas, sharing stories that everyone would want to capture on the mural. Each person brought something different, ideas branching outward like the limbs of Maya's beloved cherry blossom tree. Slowly but surely, connection formed in the gaps where fear of judgment had once thrived. In that vibrant room, Maya caught Karen's sneaking glances at her sketches, the light of interest flickering behind her eyes. The shift felt monumental. Maybe this was the moment that the community could truly come together, the barriers of misunderstanding crumbling like brittle autumn leaves. As energies swirled and darted toward each other, someone raised a hand and suggested, what if we had a family potluck to go along with the party? Everyone can bring their favorite dish. Laughter erupted. Ideas started flowing like a bubbling stream, showcasing neighborly spirit. Homemade pies. Grilled corn. Tacos from my family's recipe. Fueled by joy and laughter, the gathering transformed into a lively brainstorming session, and Maya found herself dancing between conversations, feeling pride swell within her heart. But the murmurs faded, and the room quieted again as Karen cleared her throat. All right, let us set up a day to kick this off and discuss further details. The collective energy intensified as plans began forming. Maya felt light as a feather. It was exhilarating to see her vision evolve into something grander than she could imagine. As everyone took seats around a long table, Maya stood up. I just want to say thank you. She exclaimed, her voice shimmering with raw emotion. This is beyond just a mural, we're building connections. Thank you for believing in our stories. Her heart swelled with gratitude and possibility. the claps and cheers echoed back at her, each sound like an echo of love. That night, Maya lay in bed staring at the ceiling, her fears quieting down to a soft murmur. The echoes of laughter surrounded her, wrapping her in a blanket of community warmth. She imagined the mural taking shape, vibrant colors, and laughter weaving together a living tapestry. As she drifted off to sleep, a smile graced her lips, knowing there was no limit to what they could create together. The journey had transformed everyone, not just for Maya, but for Mrs. Thompson, too. Maybe this was just the beginning of redefined truths about their shared lives the moment a community came together as one. And who knew? Perhaps the next treehouse would be built together, not just for fantasy but as a lasting symbol of their united spirit, carrying the stories of every family in every brushstroke, lighting the way forward with joy. This was home, a blossoming place full of hearts daring to dream together. And as the sun broke over the horizon the next morning, it was clear, they weren't just building a mural. They were building a family. Now more than ever, it was time for you, too, to show your support. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Your like makes all the difference in the world, so leave one right now to feed the algorithm. Don't miss your chance to comment your reactions and feelings about this amazing transformation. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to experience this journey. This is the moment to uplift others and build a community of our own. Don't wait not even one more second. ACT.